Hey, hey, hey. Hello, everyone, Facebook and YouTube world. Welcome to this edition of Office Hours with Lanora. I'm Lanora. Well, today's episode of Office Hours with Lanora, I would like to talk and to provide information about the topic is, are you qualified? Are you qualified, people? What are those things that could prevent you from being issued any type of real estate license in the state of Illinois? So let's get into it. Let's talk more about it. For those of you that know, or maybe those that don't, Office Hours with Lenora is my way of giving back or pouring into the industry based on my personal experiences along the way in this journey called real estate. It serves three types of people. The first group would be those that are considering a career in real estate and gathering information. The second group would be for those that are probably currently in a pre-licensing class right now. My goal is to help them pass that course on the first attempt. And the third group would be anyone that has already earned a real estate license. My hope is to help them stay in the business. So that's the reason why Office Hours with Lenora was started. And today's topic is a reason why you probably won't be issued a license. I'd like to start also with a disclaimer. I am an employee of the Chicago Association of Realtors, and I work in the education department for the Realtors Real Estate School. I do not work for the state agency that issues real estate license. The agency's name is the Illinois Department of Financial and Professional Regulations. So the information that I will be sharing today is the information that the IDFPR, the Illinois Department of Financial and Professional Regulations, they have as a part of the licensure process. So that information that I'll be sharing today, will it prevent you outright 100%? It may not. And I'll give you some more information towards the end. That question is there, that question mark. Feel free to always reach out directly to IDFPR. Their phone number is area code 800-560-6420. Again, 800-560-6420. Based on the information that I'm going to share today, it's public information for those that are in the process of earning a license. I'm sure some of you may or may not know, but it's also information that you're going to have to speak directly to IDFPR about. I'm only going to repeat, should you call me, what I've already said in this live or in this YouTube video. So I won't say anything differently than what I'm sharing today. So let's talk about what can prevent you from earning a license. There's this process that you go through. First, you take your pre-licensing course and pass that. The next step is for you to take the state and national licensing exam. You successfully pass the state and national licensing exam. Your third step is, in most cases, you're going to find a sponsoring broker first. A sponsoring broker, aka the real estate office or company that you plan to partner with. The next step right after that is to get your license issued. So you're going to submit paperwork to IDFPR and you're going to pay a fee. It's between $100, $125, $125 based on what type of license will be issued to you. But as a part of step 2, where you're taking that licensing exam, you're going to be presented with some questions after your test. And the questions are qualifiers to see if you qualify for this license type. So some of those questions, and I'm completely reading from what IDFPR says. They're going to ask you, are you a high school graduate or do you have a GED? You should be able to answer yes to that. Have you been convicted in any state, not just Illinois, but in any state or federal jurisdiction, including military court, for a felony? The third question, have you been convicted in any state or federal jurisdiction, including military court, for any crime of which an essential element of dishonesty occurred? Have you ever held a real estate license in Illinois before? Have you ever held or do you currently hold a real estate license in any other state? Have you been actively practicing as a managing broker or equivalent in your state of licensure for the last 2 years? Have you been denied a professional license or a permit or the privilege of taking an examination? Have you ever had a professional license or a permit disciplined by any licensing authority in Illinois or any other state or jurisdiction? Have you ever been discharged from the armed services other than honorably, or from a city, county, state, or federal position? Are you more than 30 days in arrears or behind on any court order child support payments? Are you in arrears on any state taxes due to the Illinois Department of Revenue? Now, you're going to get those questions based on what type of test you take. So if you're taking the broker exam or the leasing agent exam, you will get 2, 3, 5, or questions, the last 7 to 11 questions, number 7 through 11 that I just read. If you are taking the managing broker exam, you'll get 2, 3, 5, 7 through 11. Or if you answer no to have you been actively practicing as a managing broker or equivalent, they're going to ask you that question. The reason why they're asking you these questions is because they're qualifying you to verify if you're eligible for a license. So just think about it. That question that asks you about a felony, you've been charged with a crime. If you answer no, and for whatever reason, IDFPR, which is the entity, they're the authority over the real estate industry in Illinois. If you answer no, and for whatever reason they audit you and they find out that you have a felony, you're in big trouble. You're in trouble because that was bold-faced lie. You do not want to lie to this entity, okay? Especially when it's a crime or something essential to dishonesty. Real estate professionals adhere to the code of ethics through the National Association of Realtors. So we should be honest. We should be telling the truth because we're handling the personal information and money of people outside or beyond ourselves. So if you can't be honest, it's going to be really, really hard for you to be in this business. Because you're going to be thinking deceptive ways, or should I do this versus doing it the right way? Should I cut corners on this versus doing it all of the steps that's required to get a transaction or a job done? Okay. The question of dishonesty, because real estate professionals with cash handling that we do, especially if it's something related to you converting. We call it conversion in real estate, where you're taking the money and using it for something other than its initial intent. Like if I were to take the earnest money check of one of my buyers and decide I'm going to pay my mortgage with it. That's not the intent of that earnest money. So I've converted that money, or you'll hear the term commingling in real estate. Commingling means that I've taken someone else's money. It could be, dues payment or, what did I just say? The earnest money, or I'm commingling that money with the money of my own, or the office funds. I'm taking from the office and putting it in my personal bank account. That's commingling. Cannot do that. Cannot do that. And if you're ever caught and you're in trouble for that, it can prevent you from getting a license. Okay? The question where they ask you about if you have a high school diploma or a GED, it's a requirement. You have to be a minimum of 18 years of age, have a high school diploma or a GED, and be of good moral character. So all of those questions behind the do you have a high school diploma or a GED are good moral. Do you have that good moral character? Those are good moral character questions. So if you start out by saying, yeah, I have a GED, but you took the class, you didn't take the test, technically you don't have a GED. So did you answer that question truthfully and honestly? No, you did not. Will the state give you time to work on your GED, even if you answered that question yes? I don't know. That's a good question to call and ask IDFPR using the number that I've provided. When they ask you about child support payments, because I've had quite a few people ask me about this, they will register for the class. Some of them have even started the class. And then when we talk about this stuff in the class, I often get someone who will call me on the low and say, Lenora, listen, I'm behind a little bit on my child support payments. Will that prevent me from getting a license? Well, the instructor just told you, if you're behind, there is a chance that it will. I've had people drop out of the classes because they were behind in child support and they saw no way to pay it, and they felt like they wouldn't be issued a license. You got to pay for these babies. You got to pay for the kids. Trust me, I'm paying for mine, so I want you to pay for yours. And real estate is a good industry to help raise children by the proceeds that you'll earn if you're doing enough closings and helping enough families. Okay, so make sure that you're honestly answering these questions. What about if you are in arrears or if you're behind in state taxes? It does not mention federal. This question specifically says state taxes due to the Illinois Department of Revenue. So you know it's tax season right now. I need to file myself. But when you are told if you're going to get a refund or if you owe, you always get two numbers, one for federal, one for state. So if you owe the Illinois Department of Revenue, and you're behind, chances are you could potentially not be issued a license. They want you as a practicing real estate professional to be current, because how can you be out in the industry working, helping others if you haven't handled your business? So make sure that you're staying on top of these things. Even if you've been issued a license, and let's say you get behind on state taxes, you get behind on child support payments or something like that, you've defaulted on a loan of some sort, something like that, and you have a real estate license already, there is a chance that you can fall in an audit. They can audit you at any given time while you have your license. And if you didn't disclose that because you waited more than 30 days, and you'll learn this in the class too, you have to disclose these things even after the fact that you've earned a license. You never want to be a part of an audit for IDFPR unless it's a good thing. They're auditing because you completed your CE coursework in 30 days. That's good. But you don't want to be in this type of audit right here where you are behind on child support, you're in arrears on your state taxes, you have a felony that you did not disclose. Don't want to be in that trouble. Some people have licenses in another state and they may be practicing doing the same things. But let's say that you got in trouble in Indiana and you also have, or you're pursuing a license for Illinois, for the same type of license that you have in Indiana where you got in trouble, chances are when you come to Illinois, we're going to say, you messed up in Indiana. We're not going to let you do the same thing here in Illinois. So there could be a possibility where you won't be issued a license. Know that your name, your social security number, information about you travels. So you cannot outrun the bad stuff, that if you've done bad stuff. I get people that call me all the time because they're looking to pursue a career in real estate and they know they have some issues or some blemishes. And they'll go and start the conversation with, well, I messed up when I was 21 years old or when I was 19 years old. I'm not going to be the body or the entity or the person to say yes, no, or maybe that you'll be able to get issued a license. I'm going to tell you to call 800-560-6420 and speak to the good people over at the Illinois Department of Financial and Professional Regulations. Now, let me give you an idea of who would not need to report. So I'm going to read a long paragraph here, but you are not required to report: one, if law enforcement records, court records, and conviction records, those law enforcement records, court records, or conviction records, if you were 17 years old at the time of the offense and before January 1st of 2014. Because at that point, unless the nature of the offense required you to be tried as an adult, if you weren't required to be charged as an adult and you were 17 years of age and younger, they treated you like a juvenile. You do not have to report or say yes to to answer these questions in a way that they're answered. Let's say that you were convicted of let's say that you were convicted of a felony. I don't know if you can be charged with a felony and you're 17 years old or less, and you were not charged as an adult. But let's say that you're convicted, hypothetically, you're convicted of a misdemeanor. Let's go with a misdemeanor. You're convicted of a misdemeanor. You're 17 years old. Perhaps you did something shoplifting or something like that. You got a slap on the hand. They treated you like a juvenile. Now you're 37 years old and you want to apply for a real estate license in the state of Illinois. And a question comes up if you've been convicted. First of all, the question asks you, have you been convicted of a felony? And it asks you the third one about an element where dishonesty occurred. So in that case, dishonesty occurred. Also in that case, you were 17 years of age and you were treated like a juvenile. You were not treated as an adult. You do not have to answer that question with a yes, because you were not considered an adult at the time. So it's an act of childish foolishness, basically. Number two, you are not required to report arrest not followed by a charge or conviction. Number three, any records of arrest where the charges were dismissed unless the charges were related to the practice of real estate profession. So even if these charges were dismissed, like in that case with the shoplifting, that was non-real estate related. But let's say at the age of 17, you were treated like an adult because you were working in a real estate office and you stole an earnest money check. And for that crime, it was an act of dishonesty and you were treated like an adult. You have to answer this question honestly, because you were treated as if you were an adult, not a minor, and it was in the field of real estate. Okay, so you see how it could be a gray area in some places. So you just really, really need to err on the side of caution as well as honesty, because it won't pay you in the end to lie to these people or to try to make yourself look like what you're not when being, going through the process of being issued a real estate license. I always tell you, tell the truth, okay? You are not required to report if the convictions or the arrests that have been sealed or expunged. You are not required to report if the convictions that were overturned by a higher court, like the Supreme Court, okay? You are not required to report a juvenile adjudication occurring prior to your 18th birthday involving a violation or attempt to violate any federal, state, or municipal law or ordinance other than. That's a lot of legal mumbo jumbo. I can send this to you if you want me to, so just email me or something. And the first degree murder, any state or municipal law or ordinance other than first degree murder, aggravated criminal sexual assault, or aggravated battery with the firearm. Okay, stop right there. That's the good part. So they're telling you don't have to report Unless. Why do you think they're saying that? Let's start with first-degree murder. Who do you think wants to go in the house if there's a chance that you've been issued a real estate license and you've killed someone? Be honest. It will come out. The second part of that, aggravated criminal sexual assault. Real estate professionals are targets. We look like we got a whole lot of money, and some of us don't. Some of us do. A lot of us do. But it's almost that fake it till you make it situation in a sense. And you don't want to be put in a position where someone can assume you have something and then take from you in the act of a sexual violent crime. So you always have to make sure you're erring on the side of caution. You're protecting yourself. You're doing your due diligence to make sure that you don't put yourself in a situation where you can become a victim. Also, any aggravated battery with a firearm. So if you've done some form of battery and it included a gun, chances are you will not be issued a real estate license, and you need to disclose that. Now, I feel like the bearer of bad news today, but I really, really want to help people that are looking to get into this industry that I love. I swear I love real estate. But you might be coming in for the wrong reasons. Also, for those people that are looking to join the real estate industry and you're looking for a do-over. I don't want you to ever think that you can't come to get a do-over, but there is a process that you'll have to go through. I've had students that have gone through that process and they were patient and they provided the documentation, the proof. They were able to show how they rehabilitated themselves, and quite a few of them have been issued a real estate license. So it is not a definite yes, no, or maybe. In some cases you might have to go before a committee at the IDFPR level for them to make a decision on should you be issued this regular type of license or a conditional license, because they do exist. Okay, so that's my news on what are those things that possibly could prevent you from earning a real estate license in the state of Illinois. Let's talk about moving on to some good, happy stuff now, because now I feel like I gave a lot of bad news, but that's what I'm here for. I want to share because I don't want someone investing their money and they get so far up the road and then you say, no one told me. Now you've been told. That's your notice, okay? Always, again, follow up with the entity that issues license for the state of Illinois, and that's going to be the Illinois Department of Financial and Professional Regulations, 1-800-560-6420. I repeat, 1-800-560-6420 for IDFPR, okay? Now that we got all of that out of the way, what's coming up down at the Realtors Real Estate School? Within the next couple of weeks, we're going to be starting some classes the March 21st in the evenings. We'll have some Zoom webinar classes for our broker students. So if you are interested in starting a class 3 nights a week, 5:30 to 9:15 via Zoom with a live instructor, March 21st is your day. If you are a leasing agent and you are considering starting the residential leasing agent course, we will meet in person at our downtown location, 430 North Michigan Avenue. You do need to register in advance before entering the building. And that's going to be March 21st and 22nd, 9 a.m. to 4:30. What else is coming up? So we have Saturday sessions starting April 2nd, which will be a Zoom also. And that's going to be 9 a.m. to 4:30, 10 consecutive Saturdays. Of course, you're going to get breaks throughout the day. And Ms. Risa Weiss is our instructor for that course. Leo will be teaching the leasing agent course, Leo Schwartz, on March 21st. And Rosanna Diaz teaching the evening sessions on March 21st. Last but not least, we'll have the in-person all-day accelerated format for the brokers starting on April 4th. So 2 weeks in length, 9 a.m. to 4:30, Monday through Friday for 2 weeks, downtown Chicago. So Hope I've provided you with enough information today. You know, I look forward to seeing you guys, talking to you all. Hello, everyone in my Facebook land. Thank you, thank you, thank you for joining me on today. And I will see you on the next Office Hours with Lenora. Ta-ta for now. Bye-bye.